Streaming. Excellent connection, it says.
Right.
Let's do that pop-out chat. No, not on this computer. Do it on the other computer. I'm on our live page.
I'm working it. Just
Where
It's
is
happening.
it? Where is it? It's not
you
here.
have to wait.
I
have to
refuse
wait.
to wait.
You're one of those
Wrong
people.
keyboard. Wrong keyboard.
I just had to mute you because I had to hear the beration twice to get berated more than once.
But that's how
Yep.
low the latency is, because it was that fast that you got to hear me yell at you again.
Twice. Yep.
Yeah. PC Perspective Live. There's 31 people watching right now.
Holy macaroni.
Yep, and it just keeps climbing.
That is more than has ever watched one of my Twitch streams, which I haven't done in
Intros.
a year. Okay. I will mute myself because nobody wants to hear that. Okay, top live chat. We're getting set to go in just seconds.
Believe it.
Wow, that latency's pretty good.
It is.
I bet it's even better if you're on the west coast of the United States.
Is that because everything is tilted that way, or
No, it's because my fiber connection has a California IP,
Oh, perfect.
which is problematic for IP-based location stuff like streaming services. It says I'm in like Anaheim, I think. I don't remember.
I don't think you want to be there.
No,
No, I think they've got a pandemic over there. You don't want to go there.
it's only there. It's not anywhere else. Okay,
It's just California.
we're here for the Borger. Well, Awang, Ilias.
Yep.
You will not be disappointed. You don't get
You know,
a free Tesla. Hey,
Josh-
Bruce, you've been talking about free cars for years.
He's still not
Still
gonna-
doesn't have one.
We don't still have one.
Josh really takes one for the team every Wednesday,
Oh,
and
sure
that's
he does.
beyond
How do
just
I do
being on the
that?
podcast,
Yeah.
beyond just showing up here.
What do I do? Other than needing a
is
gut
some-
bomb.
That
That's
would
it
be
right
it.
there.
Yes.
That's it. And I think it's your sultry take on the food of the day.
I see. Well, this one was kind of a surprise. I ordered one thing, and I think I got something totally different.
Not too early.
Save it.
Yeah,
Save
I
it for
know.
the show.
I'm saving
which
it.
We're starting.
Saving it.
Which we're starting
Bottle that up.
right now. Hey everybody, welcome back to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 615, being recorded on February 10, 2021. I'm Sebastian Peak.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I'm Brett Van Sproonberg.
And you can sign up to be notified when we go live for events like our weekly podcast recording session by going to pcper.com/subscribe and be put onto our mailing list. And Brett, I'm sure you sent one out today. You always do.
I try.
Some sort of a note that teases what's coming at 10 o'clock. We'll do it for other things too. That's a threat.
Some of this is a surprise to me, even. So
Yeah.
there's that.
We often put as much as 5 to 10 minutes of preparation behind the show every week, and you can help support that sterling effort by going to patreon.com/pcper and becoming one of our patrons, a patron of the PC Perspective Arts. Do we have any news on that front?
You know that we do. I'd like to welcome and thank Thomas Stancombe. That's seemingly an English name, I'd say. But anyway, thanks very much for signing up and throwing a few dollars in the bucket, the PC Per Performance Art bucket. Really appreciate that. And I'd like to re-welcome Callum Oswell, who had some difficulties getting through the sign-up process and getting the Discord environment. Welcome. Glad you fought and got got through and are now one of our patrons. So thank you very much to both of you guys. Really appreciate it. Again, sign up over at patreon.com/PCPer if you want to support whatever we have going on here. So really appreciate it. Thanks very much. Without that, can't have this happening. Oh, also, if anybody logs in there, already a patron, logs in there, change their name, and I get the email and I see it, I'll read probably whatever it says out on the air.
Most of the time,
well,
yeah. If you just want to insult one of us and use,
That's fine.
moderately
That's
offensive
fine.
language, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's
Even
the best,
sometimes
possible thing.
sometimes like vaguely offensive language.
Yeah, overtly
Yeah.
offensive language.
Yeah.
Well, with our housekeeping out of the way, it's time to immediately shift focus to Laramie, Wyoming, where roving reporter Josh Walrath is on the scene of yet another gut bomb.
The gut bomb was very much a gut bomb today. But instead of fries, I did have a salad because I felt like eating slightly healthier. And yeah, when you get starches with that much meat, it tends to, wreak havoc with older individuals such as myself. Doesn't make any sense, does it? I don't act that way, do I?
We suffer through it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, the burger, I originally ordered what was kind of more of a usual, the naughty. But what they gave me was not really the naughty. The naughty has bacon, lots of jalapenos, and all that. But this one is slightly different. It still is comprised of 2 4-ounce patties. But there was vegetable matter in there. Had American cheese, spicy barbecue sauce, lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and pickles. And it gave it a more classic flavor, but still with a little bit of bite. American cheese, even though it is just a processed cheese product, it's got a time and a place. And this was the time, and that most certainly was the place. So, I don't know what it was called. I'm not sure what exactly all I ate, but it was still good.
And that was a moment of silence.
Josh's digestive system.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed about the fries, though. I
salad
mean, good
helps
on
me
you
go
for the
through.
salad, but yeah.
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 The fries, though, are so good. They're really
look
good.
good.
Hand-cut fries, just perfectly done most of the time, and got a little seasoning on it. And yeah. But yeah, Thousand Island dressing, nice salad.
Looks pretty
All
good.
right. Well, that's tonight's Josh's weekly burger update feature. Tune in every Wednesday night to find out what Josh has eaten. And again, Josh, you take one for the team. You don't eat for what, like 24 hours after that?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. After that is-
And part of the magic is in the description, in the delivery. So
Sure.
thank you.
And when it's sufficiently dramatic, I like to add really, really
Little music.
sappy music behind it. I don't always do that, but I think I have to this time just because I said so.
I think you might.
Hey, our top story tonight, moving straight to news, is breaking news. New Intel CPUs not necessarily compatible with previous motherboards. Can you tell us more? Whoever wants to talk about that.
I'll do it.
we should have a soundboard, like, for
I know.
breaking news. Or maybe we can just do that. I don't know.
Tonight on. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, I think I well, I was
That's
recording.
the
We were
way it
recording
is.
that. We could just use that.
Oh, well, we could just use that then. So basically, Intel previously said that, hey, all those previous 400 series boards that you guys all have out there in real life land, next generation CPU is for you. And then recently they just said, oops, our bad, B460 and H410 chipsets are not going to be Rocket Lake homes. So no on that. And that was recently released on their support site to say their 11th gen CPUs would not have BIOS updates to support their latest gen CPUs, unfortunately. So you're going to have a later I guess, what is it, a 470 and the Z490 chipsets with the latest BIOS updates from your favorite motherboard vendor of choice before you can socket in your latest 11th gen CPU. Does it have something to do with the VRMs? We don't know. They weren't really specific. Is it because the old boards didn't support Wi-Fi 6? We don't know. They really weren't very specific. However, they do appreciate the fact that you bought one of the old boards, and if you're an Intel fan, please line up to buy a new board, and they would really appreciate that.
That'd be
But we didn't change the
great.
socket this time.
No, it is still the 1200 socket, so that's going to be great. And these CPUs, again, just in case people weren't paying attention, they're supposed to be here Q2 2021, but it's looking like probably early March. So be on the lookout for that. If you're an Intel fan guy or girl, the improvements in IPC should be pretty reasonable. They look like they're going to give AMD a run for the money. But get on a newer board. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Not sure if PCIe 4.0 is going to be supported on all of the older chipsets, but at least it looks like Z490 is going to be supporting PCIe 4.0.
That was a
For now.
This is
motherboard
Just-
specific thing.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a vendor-specific thing. And I did make a note in the news item that there are sometimes motherboard vendors that go a little bit off the reservation. And what I mean by that is they may end up supporting the 11th gen on some of their lower-end boards, whether Intel likes it or not, because they're just like that. They just might do it. They've done it
So is
before.
this marketing and MBA guys who are making promises but not consulting engineers, and then suddenly the engineers come back and are like, "Yeah, no, this ain't gonna fly," or is it just? Would it take more engineering to just get this done right? Because it seems like since the Z77 series, of chipsets on through now where we're at 490 going on 590.
Yeah.
So many. It always seems like they've kind of got this problem. I mean, they just keep jumping sockets, and if they didn't jump sockets, then they're jumping VRM specs, and they're just not being able to deliver a whole lot to their customers other than you want a new CPU? You got to get a new motherboard. That's just the way it is. We can't be bothered with any kind of backwards compatibility. I mean, AMD had a hard time with some of their fans when, they said, "Hey, we don't have enough space in our firmware chips that we can support every single processor that has ever fit in an AM4 socket." But if you look at the entire stretch of CPUs that still work in AM4, it's really impressive. And maybe they've been forced to do that because they are second fiddle to Intel in terms of market share. And so they can't really afford to alienate their core user base by making them buy a new motherboard each time they want a CPU upgrade.
Or is it just better planning? They did say from the beginning that they were going to stick with it for some number of years and generations.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know. I mean, is it
I don't
is it
know.
as Francois says, the Excel file MBA guys are making all the big decisions and the shots, and they're not sufficiently talking to engineers, or are they just trying to push as many features as possible into each new CPU that they just won't work with older chipsets?
Well, we know the 11th gen is going to draw some serious wattage. We know that. But we also know that some of the motherboard vendors were robust enough in their VRM capacity in some of the lower entry boards that they'd be safe in supplying it. So I expect to see maybe a few rogue motherboard suppliers might kick out a BIOS. Maybe.
Look, Intel users typically pay more for their CPUs, I would say, on the enthusiast side of things. So if you've already got the money for a high-end Core i9, who cares if you have to buy a new motherboard? Except
But it was all of them.
$200. What's $200? What's
well, what's
$250?
$700 for like a Maximus 12 whatever the highest end
yeah.
Asus
Hey,
board is?
I did just read that some of those entry-level boards were on 22 nanometer. The chipsets were.
Yeah.
So I mean, how long ago was that for Intel?
That's not
Like
that long ago because
5
they started
years.
producing chipsets on 22 nanometer again later.
Okay, that was
14
it.
nanometer.
Yes, I
issues.
thought there was something where they had to go back to
Yeah, so
a
that's-
previously
that's
larger
nothing
process
new.
node.
And really, for a chipset, what difference does 22?
N
versus
plus one,
14?
yeah.
I
I
don't-
mean, that's
yeah.
the chipsets have always been that way. I mean, it's only really until AMD has done the X570 that they required, 14, 12 nanometer, and mainly because the 570 is just the memory I/O controller for Horizon, so it makes sense to do it there anyway. But it is interesting
And-
that like Phison and those SSD controller guys, they are forced now to go to a much smaller geometry and power consumption, because let me tell you that I did test the Sabrent Rocket Plus and a USB 3.0, 3.1 or whatever version that is, the My Digital SSD M.2 to USB 3. And that thing got hot. I could barely even touch the metal case of that stinking USB drive. Well, yeah, converter. So yeah, even still, that flash must have been so happy being so toasty, because it was hot.
Hey, some flash
Anyway.
likes it hot.
Yep.
Doesn't seem to affect it that much. But those controllers, they start to throttle over a certain
Yeah.
temperature. Hey, speaking of SSDs, I see on my list here that we're going to mention Western Digital Shiny Black D50. I don't know if you remember this from CES time frame, but Western Digital has this new external enclosure that kind of looks like an Intel Nook, but it's just storage. Tell me more, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting little project or product, because inside you've got their SN730 NVMe drive, either 1 or 2 terabyte depending on how you like it, and it hooks up to your PC via Thunderbolt 3. You'll get essentially all of the speed that you'd expect from an M.2 of this generation. Sort of in testing, reads and writes are hair over 2,500 megabytes a second. So, for an external enclosure, that's kind of nifty. But what made it more interesting is the sheer amount of outputs it's got on it. So if you're watching the video, you can see it there. There's 3 USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A's, another pair of Type C's, and a DisplayPort 1.4 output, along with audio. So GitGrow didn't really do a lot of the testing, but the idea is that it's, inches away from being a media server, as well as just a portable drive. And for the most part, you could install the games on this thing and wander off. The reads are more than enough to handle whatever you're going to be pushing through. And it comes with a pretty interesting suite of software, which gives you ideas how long you've got left in your flash, like how healthy is it, spaces, real-time performance, being able to update your firmware, the ability to control your RGBs, because it says gaming on it, so it has to have some RGBs.
Oh,
And
right.
So if you don't want to, it'll hook up to your motherboard, but if you don't want it to, you can do that on your own. So it's interesting. It gives you so much more than just okay, I've got an M.2 like Josh was playing with his Sabrent, so I've got just really fast external storage, and it sort of goes a step beyond that to give you a little bit more fun and flexibility, I guess, is what I'm looking for. Now, of course, the fun thing is that because it is so fancy, it's running you about $600, $700 for the 2 terabyte.
Whoa.
That's pretty pricey.
Yeah, the 1 terabyte's just around 5. So you're definitely paying for the really fancy enclosure, the lights, the little bit of extra controllers and stuff. But it sounded lovely until I was like, okay, so how much extra are you charging? Like half again? And okay, at that price, it's kind of a bit of a hard sell for me.
Yeah.
Jeremy, who is this for?
People that have a Thunderbolt port and want to use it.
Wait,
Obviously.
so for Mac users and very high-end motherboard users?
But why do
Yes.
they call it a game dock then? Is it just for you? Okay,
Because
you're
it's
loading
got
it up.
RGBs.
Oh. All right. Well, I'm spent.
But no, in theory, you could also do a pass-through to a DisplayPort output. So you could sort of plug it into a laptop, and it'll sort of function a little bit like a dock. But
Yeah, and many Mac users typically use this, or laptop users. But are they really? I mean, gaming?
here's my $500 laptop and my $800 dock. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sense of this.
Well, you know, with that active cooling, you wouldn't have to worry about what Josh was experiencing, where your drive gets really hot.
True.
This is
Oh.
cooling your drive. Isn't that worth $500 to you?
Isn't that 40 millimeter fan your favorite size of fan?
It's a
based upon
great
your lever?
fan.
Apparently it's not bad.
It's a V-
Apparently they did a decent job on the audio on it. So you've got that going for you.
If they spend
But yeah,
so-
until I hit the price, it sounded like a good idea. When I hit the price, no, I don't think so.
Wait, what is that US? Let's look at Western Digital in
Yeah,
Oh, that was
BH Photo
that was
was what it
cookie
said.
stand.
because
I don't
Was
think
it
so.
cookie stand dollars.
the
Not unless BH Photo redid it on me. Because I love sites that just automatically reprice things and don't tell you that they did it, even though you're desperately trying to find a
because that
specific price.
That price included VAT. So let's look at
It was B&H Photo, and it doesn't say.
external USB flash drives, I guess. I just want to see what their price is. Oh, these are USB drives, straight up. Okay. Let's look at solid state drives.
Shop Western Digital. And of course, it's immediately going to send me to Canada.
Okay, let's see.
Hey.
Oh, it's $500 for the 1 terabyte.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you.
No.
Yeah, and you have to have a Thunderbolt
Oh,
3
wait.
port.
In Canada, we've got a special one. There's a 0 terabyte for $440. It literally just says 0 terabyte.
And they're talking about the fact that you can link up your laptop screen, all that stuff, but that's just like Thunderbolt pass through. So you're paying. It's I would say there is at least $100 to $200 just in the Thunderbolt dock part. So this is
Oh,
like
absolutely.
a laptop dock.
Just-
so that's $200 to
Just
$300.
these docks are, especially Thunderbolt docks, are pushing $300.
Yeah,
just because-
I wasn't really
of their
thinking about it as being
chipset.
like a port replicator type thing, because you get an Ethernet port, you get display port, you get high speed
Well,
USB.
not as many. Let me tell you, it's not as many ports as you do get off of a dedicated Thunderbolt port sharing external dock charging
Yeah.
environment kind of thing.
Anyway, yeah.
But for the
It's-
same price, you get RGB. So there's that. Yeah,
And your dock doesn't usually have 2 terabytes of local storage.
very true.
true. And it does look like a miniature shipping container. So that's pretty good.
It looks like a computer, but it just has the storage in it and a fan. It also has a fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you patched your Chromium yet, Jeremy? That's our next
Oh, yeah,
story.
I did. Because that was pretty nasty.
What's nasty?
Well, I mean, just opening Edge for one thing.
Oh. I like
so this
French,
is
fine.
yes, this is what. Well, that's the one you got to worry about. So anything that's Chromium based, which is almost everything but Firefox, there is a fairly nasty heat buffer overflow that they're not telling us much about, other than the fact that it was patched, or the patches were released on Friday, at least for Chrome and for Credge. So if you play around with extra browsers, like for instance the Brave browser, or if you've been playing with Vivaldi, definitely check that you've done an upgrade to it, because those ones don't necessarily get open so often and don't necessarily get the patch that you really want, which will end with a .150. If you look in the version, which works in just about every one of their browsers, it'll probably be, I'd guess, around 2 months or so before they're actually going to give us the details on exactly what it was. But as of last week, they were seeing it being actively exploited. So it's not just a good idea to patch. Now, this is a good old 0 day that's actually out there and chewing on things. Or you could just go back to IE.
What could possibly go wrong? Just
I don't know. I
back to
just
Internet
noticed I've got a
Explorer 7.
Chrome. I've got a Chrome patch to apply. I just noticed. I just checked.
See?
Just
Aren't you glad
ignore.
I told you?
Ignore. It's fine.
All right. Yeah. I'm
What's the worst that
just
happen?
dismiss that. I don't even.
Yeah,
know.
who cares?
Whatever.
All right. I know that you were super excited to talk about this, Brett. AMD.
I don't know about super excited.
You were soaked. I could hear it in your voice. DLSS obviously is only on NVIDIA platforms, right? Well, what if AMD had a competitor? Now, obviously, they already have Radeon image sharpening, which and they you can do scaling and sharpening on AMD, and it's not the same because it's not doing any kind of AI powered enhancement, but you are able to run it lower internal resolutions and then sharpen the upscaled image on your monitor and do GPU based scaling, which looks really nice. Plus, they have integer graphics on AMD cards too. But having said all that, AMD's DLSS Challenger Fidelity FX Super Resolution. What is the acronym here? Does it have? Is it R?
Look,
LSS?
I
Is
think
it RDSS?
we definitely talked about this before, but it's really important to have a catchy acronym for your tool, your utility. And I think AMD is going to go with FSR. And I
No,
think that's going
no.
to catch on.
It needs to be
Look,
like FSSR.
X. No,
That's just a little bit
FXSR.
That's a little bit too
Hard to
Soviet
say and
Union.
everything.
It does
I
need to
think-
be
I
hard to
think that-
pronounce. It's too easy. FSR?
FXSR. Get that
Oh,
X in there and mess your.
FXSR? I guess maybe.
Yep.
I guess that
See,
could
it's
be
hard
good.
to say.
Yeah, it is. It does make you slow down and hitch up over the X.
XXXR.
No, that's the triple X version.
That's
not
a
this one.
specific add-on.
Yeah, it's talk about
Well,
your deep
I'm
learning.
still sad
as
that
it-
Intel no longer has SX and behind any of their chips.
Mm.
True.
Let's bring that back. Let's bring back the
16-bit bus.
10900 SX. I don't know.
Wasn't that what it was? What Brett just said? Wasn't it?
Yes,
Denoted the
yes, it was.
16-bit version. So there was a 486
That's correct.
SX,
No.
and then there was the
Yeah.
GX.
No, it was
Yeah,
it was
3
not.
SX.
They were full 32-bit chips, but the SX
they were.
had a 16-bit bus, a 286 bus that it ran on.
Yeah, yeah.
And then later with the 486, the SX didn't have like the floating point integrated.
I'm
in,
pretty
but the
sure
DX did.
that when we talked about it back then, we actually inserted the letter U between those two letters, and it spelled
sucks. Yeah,
that was it.
No.
the
Yeah.
486 SXs weren't too bad, but 386 SXs they were. There was something.
They were not
Dogs.
the best, but they're fine if you're playing really
Yeah,
low
I mean,
cost
I
games.
existed on a 386 SX 16 megahertz for quite a few years in my college years, and it was got me through.
And then then
Did that
Falcon
machine have a
3.0
turbo
came
button?
out.
Did it have the turbo?
Oh,
Didn't
yeah.
have a turbo butt on that one. No, my
that's
first
right.
computer did, which was an 8088 knockoff. It was an NEC V20 or something. Was running it at like 10 megahertz, and regular ran at 6 or 7. But hit that turbo button, 10 megahertz, man.
Yeah, not 4.77.
So as long as it lasts.
10.
Yep.
To sync up all your video games. Hey, this FSR thing.
Yeah, what were
they're
we
probably
talking
gonna-
about? AMD.
I have no idea.
They're going to be
DLSS
making
like
something out of this.
upscaling.
Yeah, remember
stuff.
DLSS version 1.0 and version 2 share about as much in common as in their name. That's pretty much it. Like, other than it has AI processing in it. Remember, DLSS 1.0 was based upon an individual mapping using their deep learning at home. Essentially, the game developer submitted it to NVIDIA, and NVIDIA sort of pre-computed everything and built an individualistic AI mapping in order to do resolution independent upscaling and recomposition from lower resolutions. They built an individual AI map for that. DLSS 2.0 did away with all that. And they have a much better tuned but universal AI mapping for recomputing missing pixels, given a general AI mechanism for doing that. And it's pretty good, but it's instituted in the driver. AMD's is designed to be outside of that, so it's not actually part of the driver. So it's using Microsoft's ML, their standard way of implementing machine learning right in Windows. So it's going to be much easier for game developers to sort of get attached to the way AMD is doing things. And it's not like they need dedicated hardware for doing the mathematical computations. I mean, NVIDIA's is good because they're doing a different variant of doing temporal anti-aliasing, essentially, because they're doing predictive vectors, NVIDIA, and they're using their tensor cores I believe it's tensor cores, if I get the name right, for handling that. the way that AMD is going to be doing this is not necessarily the same, but the end result is going to be similar in that they're able to upscale lower resolutions to higher resolutions with temporal artifacts removed and a resharpening filter. In fact, they're showing that. One of the links that I put in there for you is Radeon Boost. It's actually already doing it. And when their new version of Fidelity FX and FSR come out, this Radeon Boost thing is going to be vastly improved. That's that one that says we'll also update Radeon Boost. That link right there shows side by side kind of what it looks like 4K with and without their Radeon Boost and how much quicker, how many more frames they can pump out. I mean, basically, both of these engines are doing something very similar. They're feeding less data to their processing systems in an attempt to up frame rates. It's no more of a trick than that. Is give the GPUs less to do with less data to chew on, fewer pixels, and out pops more frame rates or more frames on the other end. That's the trick. And it's how to do it without really losing image fidelity or sharpness, in the case of fast movements and temporal aliasing.
And we're
How's
talking
that?
about doing that on the consoles too, aren't they?
Well, that's yes, exactly. They're definitely going to bring that to the consoles as well. Again, this is not going to necessarily take a driver update. So it's a little bit lighter than the way NVIDIA has been doing it, in that it's not as intensely connected to the game. They have been, and it's going to be kind of done outside of that. Oh, there you go. So that's full res. It looks pretty promising.
I mean, sure, but it's all going to come down to developer support, right?
And the catchy name.
Well,
I'm not
right,
kidding about
yes.
the catchy name.
No, hey, there's a reason that people are paid quite a bit of money to work on things like corporate branding and brand names for products. You get a
And
great
maybe
brand
FX.
name.
AMD
it
should
stinks.
hire one.
I don't know. I think FSR is going to catch on. I think that's going to be the name.
I think they should hire the Acer product naming division.
I think they should hire someone.
It's always super catchy. Super
Where did
catchy.
they come
Serial
up with
number
that?
like
Did you say Gateway? I'm sorry, I wasn't.
Acer?
I wasn't
Well, same
listening.
thing. Doesn't Acer own the Gateway brand?
That's what I thought.
Acer
'Cause this-
product
what was
names
with
are
the cows?
legendary.
The cow, the whole cow.
It
thing?
worked.
I never
Hey,
got
it
that.
worked. Bubble, like 2000 internet bubble era computing. The Gateway store, I had one right here in town. That was the place, man. You could go in
I guess I still remember it. I guess it worked.
The old Gateway is now a FedEx Kinko's, but the building is still there. Or wait, maybe that's the Guitar Center. Might be our Guitar Center.
Did they repaint it?
Either
It's
How the
no,
mighty
it's
have
same.
fallen.
It looks the same.
No, that's too bad.
my Gateway was next to a Kmart when I was.
And
Had a
those are
Gateway
gone
then.
too. I miss.
And now it's a
Yeah.
Micro Center.
Ugh.
Hey,
Take
hey!
a drink.
Two things. One, I didn't say it, and two, Josh
Yeah.
actually tweeted a Micro Center picture,
Yeah.
and he could talk about it
Yeah.
if he wants.
That's because Josh hates joy. Only the lucky, privileged few get one Micro Center. Which how
My
many
Micro Center is
are there in the
128
country?
miles away.
Yeah, well, oh wait, you say 128 miles away or 28 miles away?
Yeah. 128.
See, that's too far away.
That's too far.
They need to
I'm
be
not gonna
twice as
drive
many.
2
Just
hours.
double. Look, Micro Center, if you're watching, I know you do. You tune in every week. Build more stores. You would sell more stuff if you built more stores. It's just that simple.
It's just the way that works.
Yep, that's the way it is. McDonald's doesn't have
The
like
more you
one
buy,
store every state. They've got
The
multiple
more
stores.
you save, right?
Yes.
Make it a
You know-
franchise.
We live outside of DC here, and we don't go to DC anymore. Plus, it's an armed encampment, so who wants to go there? But we take people to Micro Center, and they're happy. So yeah, I mean, it does work.
I'd like to go to the Air and Space Museum and the Virginia
It's not
one.
open.
It's not
They're
open
very
right
nice.
now.
The COVID.
No, they've had a pandemic. I guess it's in Washington D.C. too. So,
Yeah.
Sad.
but yeah, I suggest it. Definitely go. Let me know. I'll bring you over.
I went to
To Micro Center?
Yeah,
On
we can go
over to
there, too.
Micro
Hey,
Center.
the one time I went to the
Yeah.
Air and Space Museum
and
in
then
DC,
we can scoot over to the Air and Space.
they had the
Okay.
Star Wars exhibit on, where they had
Ooh.
like the original Millennium Falcon shooting prop. They had a bunch of like other stuff, costumes from different characters. They had the Yoda hand puppet on display, I believe. It was
I
great.
see.
I think I was like 16, 15. All right.
You should go
Epic
back.
Games.
They've got new stuff.
Yeah. Well, they have the Enterprise up front, right? The original shooting model of the TV series.
Yes,
the
they do.
TOS
I've seen
Enterprise.
They
it.
have
I've
to take
seen
that
it.
down and
It's,
refurbish it. Yeah.
it's very nice. You should go.
I need to go. I'm
Very
gonna take my son.
nice.
All right. Moving on. Epic Game Store continues their love of exclusivity. Please, Jeremy. I know this is hard to believe for all of us, but
Yes.
I mean, especially
yes.
since they give so many good games away.
I'm gasping
they
in
do.
Spanish
They
right
give
now.
some games away. I'm not gonna lie.
Spoiler
They're
alert,
giving away
they're gonna keep
BioShock
doing
or
that.
something or other. But,
Yeah. Awesome.
I got Star Wars Squadrons and Battlefield off of them fairly recently. Not all their games are crap that they give away. But we already knew that Darkest Dungeon 2, Chivalry 2, and a couple of others were definitely going to be exclusive to Epic. As in, you can only get them at Epic for a certain time. They also mentioned that a few of them are sort of going to be exclusive, which in this case means not on Steam. Far Cry 6 and Rainbow Six Quarantine, because they're Ubisoft, so you can put it on your other favorite game purchasing and management software, unless you need to put it on Origin or Uplay or Good Old Games or Steam, or it's getting as shattered as the TV industry. It used to be that Netflix was wonderful, you get it, you got everything, and now you need your Craves and your Amazons and your Disneys and your Hulus and your everything else. And so you end up having to subscribe to a whole bunch of others. And the good news is that, they're still not charging anything. You just have to sign up for an Epic account. And they're talking, although they're not giving away a lot of what they're going to be releasing, they say that over the coming year, they're going to be releasing more than are available on the platform at this moment. And there's a fair amount available, so you can expect to see a whole bunch coming out. It's annoying in that I don't like exclusivity. It's not new. It's something they've been doing. It's something Ubisoft did. It's, the only reason Steam was known for doing it is because they were exclusively the only one going. But now, of course, they haven't really tried doing it. So we'll see just how the industry deals with this fragmentation and people having to jump between all these different clients. And then, some are saying, you know what, screw it, I'm going to wait for a year. It'll be available on other platforms that I like and do things like Good Old Games on Steam, where you can link the accounts and push the games back and forth without an issue whatsoever. So
Isn't that equivalent to Epic making the problem and then going, and here, we've solved it. Here's a GOG client.
Kinda. So mildly annoying is sort of my take on it.
Fair. Before we move on, I'm actually going to resequence this in editing because I missed our first ad break. Yes, we have 2 sponsors this week. We're going to pause right here for a word from our first podcast sponsor this week.
That would be Remote HQ. Thanks to them.
Yep, and that'll be inserted later in post. We're not going to have you sit
Thanks,
through
thanks,
that.
Remote
live.
HQ.
Yeah, Remote HQ,
Yeah.
helping you get
Thanks,
things
Time
done.
Master.
Helping you get things done wherever you are and other things.
I actually use it. It's a good client.
Yeah.
And moving on.
Yep. All right. Thank you to Remote HQ. And our next story, seamless cut here to the previous story. Moving on. Apple's VR glasses are coming.
Someday.
Still.
It's just like Santa Claus. Someday.
Okay. Where are there pictures? Whoa. Okay. I hope this is not what they actually look like.
I hope so.
That's probably not what they're going to look like.
That's not Apple. That's just not.
That's not as Apple-esque as regular.
It's high fashion to be sure, but
And the
It is.
edges are beveled.
true. But am I seeing any chamfered edges here? Not really.
No, I mean they wouldn't
Well,
put those
okay, they're not
vents.
properly chamfered.
Those vents wouldn't be there. I see a little plastic flashing. That's not like them.
Oh,
But I
what's
mean,
gonna happen?
what
Is it an
exactly is
M1?
it going to look like? Yes, the replacement, whatever the
M2?
M2 will be. But the part that really has me questioning what the hell they're thinking is that each screen is going to be 8K.
8K.
8K is what they are
8K.
saying. One for each eye. The pixel density on that is physically challenging, I'm going to go with. I'm not quite sure how the hell they're going to pull that off, or if it's going to be 8K in quotation marks and be, something different. But regardless, I mean, it's going to have a nicely high pixel count, so you're not going to worry about screen dooring, but you better hope that M.2 or the M2 is powerful enough to keep it going, because lag has a very nasty side effect in VR. One that neither you nor anyone near you enjoys. It's also, because today is a day for prices that make you go hum, looking at about $3,000 for the initial ones.
I mean, can you really put a price on a life-changing experience like that?
I mean,
Well,
why,
I mean,
why
Microsoft
take them
did.
off?
Yeah, I mean,
Their
why would
HoloLens
you-
is
exactly,
about that.
You will not be able to take them off. You heard it here
No.
first.
They-
They're an ocular implant. That's why they can do 8K in each eye. They harness the
How much
power
was
of
the
human
original
brain.
Mac? It was about $3,000, wasn't it?
$24.99.
Huh, yeah.
Yep.
About $3,000 ish. I mean, you had to have a hard drive to it. Because
No, you didn't have to have a hard drive. You could swap disks over and over and over from the
It was
single
fun.
half-inch floppy.
That
on the
was
front.
that was very painful.
And then click your single button mouse.
You could buy an
We
external
enjoyed it.
floppy, an external serial floppy, and then later they had those 20 gigabyte hard drives or 20 megabyte
Yes,
hard drives. Sorry, 20
The
megabyte.
stack.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
They would sit on top of it.
Yes. So this leads to the question of what the hell is it going to be, these Apple glasses? We've seen nothing about app support, and if there's one thing that Apple lives and breathes on, it's app support.
Well, after
So-
Steve had allowed it. And
Yes.
years-
They've got to be made with tantalum, high-quality tantalum capacitors. That's why they're so
Absolutely.
expensive.
I've also heard micro LEDs, which sounds even more insane if the resolution's anywhere
No,
near
that's just
8K.
insane.
It's all too insane. But harnessing the power of Apple's revolutionary M1 processor, I'm sure 8K, 60 frames per second or higher is just, it's nothing.
The power of
Apple
imagination.
tends-
No, that was a
Apple
different
tends
company.
to build custom silicon for some of their wearables, like their headsets, their in-ear
watch.
headphones, their watch. They tend to build entirely custom, never-before-seen SoCs for when they come out with a brand new device. So that's probably going to be true for these. We'll see some sort of, I don't even know what to call it, Apple thing.
All right, timeout, show flow. Brett, I suggest we move on to the next news story, then do the ExpressVPN ad, and then do CDPR and the review. What do you think?
I was going to suggest it exactly that way
Excellent.
in text, but you read my mind.
I did. Plus, you texted
Oh,
me. So I'm reading the text from you, and I'm like,
do it.
it's like
That is true.
at Brett. Hey,
Yep.
can we do the next news story before the next ad break? And I texted
And
back.
that was when
yes.
I texted you and I said, hey, great idea. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it was from my Apple VR headset that I'm wearing right now in my eyes.
You know what
That I
that
saw
does
that.
is allows you to see the future, basically, is what that does.
Yeah.
Well, no, you need the third one for that.
That's your third eye.
The
that
third
you
is an
see
extra
God with.
optional.
All right, now
You ever read any,
visual
you ever read any
cue-
Douglas Adams?
No,
Just a wee bit.
Yeah.
oh, everybody else.
So,
Okay.
so you know about the glasses, about the peril sensitive
Peril-sensitive
3000s?
sunglasses.
Oh, that they
Yes.
turn black when they're
when
about something
when there's too much
scary
danger.
Go on. Yeah.
Imagine if there was an app for the new Apple glasses that could sense when you were in danger and actually turn them into the peril sensitive sunglasses.
I have nice
I don't wanna
pictures of
see it.
people like plummeting into fountains and bouncing
Okay,
off
you
light
can't see it
posts.
coming.
By the
Never
way,
see it coming.
Graham in
You're
the
relaxed.
YouTube chat is talking about Reverb G2. I'm not familiar with that headset, but
Yeah.
VR headset. 2160 by 2160 resolution is good. The sweet spot is still a thing, and all the pixels in the periphery are kind of blurry. Well, it's because of foveated rendering. I would assume
Yeah.
that's making use of that, because that's the way that you get the higher frame rates is by sort of isolating a section in the middle of the screen that your eye should be focusing on and rendering that at full resolution, and having the periphery intentionally rendered at a lower resolution to increase the frame rate.
Ah,
So I would assume that's probably what's happening. If you have really good vision and very good peripheral vision, you're like, the peripheral, it's kind of blurry. It's probably foveated rendering. Let's see. Android on Switch. Now I saw this. Don't Nintendo. I'm sure Nintendo fully sanctions this. They love it when people exploit their systems to run homebrew.
oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, as long as you bought it before 2018, because then they took it away from you, the bastards.
This is the real
Remember
reason
when
I
I-
got rid of the 3DS.
Do you remember when I told my poor Venezuelan kid story last time?
Yeah, which I had to cut. Yes.
Oh, that's right, you did. I'm not going to tell it again.
Good.
You'll have to cut it.
Whenever you mention the name of a country, like, that Venezuelan boy, I'm like, okay, cut. It sounds a little
Yeah.
xenophobic.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
How about
But
a
that's why
poor
people tune in for
boy?
the live show. That's why people tune in for the live show.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
It's to get this stuff
Longer.
that probably should be cut
Harder and uncut.
faster.
It is. It's bigger, louder, and uncut.
Yep. It's harder and faster. Bring it.
There's no
Oh,
fast
look, a
here.
story.
That's the story. Flip your Switch to Android 10. Just don't tell Nintendo, says Jeremy Hellstrom.
Yep.
Fast
And back
slash
it up
fast.
because this will wipe your Switch. Strangely enough. I mean,
Oh.
you know,
Can you
loading
go
a custom
back?
ROM in.
Can you go back?
Can't
mean-
you pull the flash out first?
That's what you're doing. So I'm
Internal
thinking
flash.
that no, there's an SD card in that.
Right, but is the
true.
ROM that you're writing, are you altering the ROM or are you writing just to the SD
As-
card and it loads?
As I understand, you're altering the ROM, and you have to make a choice. Do you like it docked or undocked?
Wait,
because
you can't
they've
have
actually
both?
Well, you can if you go with the version that supports the docking, which doesn't actually support as many Android apps as the tablet mode, where it doesn't really function with a dock whatsoever. It's almost like, Nintendo is trying to stop people from enjoying doing this sort of thing, which, of course, we know that they would never do. And so, the tablet is just like, boom, it's your old Android GUI, everything you'd expect. But the one that's built for the docks is actually based on Android TV. So you lose some of the stuff, you gain others. And you, of course, if you're using it docked quite frequently, that's the way to go. So you get a lot of choices here if you really feel like doing it. And it's been a while. Apparently the last one was 8.1. So the guys that were testing this said, yeah, it's responds significantly faster compared to the old one. But again, yeah, if it was made after July 2018, Nintendo patched the USB rescued mode to exploit you need to be able to do this. And there's no going back from that one.
There's no coming back. Or no going back.
You can't go home again if home's a dock.
All right. Before we sailed, I dispatched a letter to Admiral Bedoran announcing our intention to defect. That's a
Hunt for Red
Hunt for
October.
That's right.
Yeah.
You have signed your
About that
death
time, my
warrants.
lungs were aching for air.
All right. At this moment, we're going to break for yet another podcast sponsor. 2 of 2. ExpressVPN.
Thank you, ExpressVPN.
I love this question. Why doesn't Nintendo compete by releasing their own jailbreak utility to run homebrew on their consoles? Well, it's Nintendo. I don't know if you ever read any of the history of Nintendo as a company. They're maniacally obsessive over preventing anyone from getting anything for free.
Let me tell you about this poor Louisiana boy.
Okay, yes. Oh, wait, we're just going to overlook M's swizzle exposed and his thrice repeated question about, my i7-3770 RX 470 system crashes like crazy. Without
It
knowing
had a lot of
any more
numbers
than
in it.
that.
It had a
Like,
lot of numbers.
You know, recent changes.
Cold
operating
War,
system number, are you
720p.
Overclocking. Is this a
Oh, he's
card
playing
you've
at your
been
favorite
mining
resolution,
on?
720p.
Whoa, playing at 720p.
Yeah, all low,
Oh, whoa!
720p.
I play Cold War
Yeah.
all low 720p.
Yep,
I play Val True.
that crashes.
Motherboard internet is bad. It does not show its sense. Oh, okay, no problem. I'm just
no,
there's too many variables there.
That sounds like a Windows disruption.
Yeah.
Wipe and reload.
Could be
Totally,
power
yeah.
supply.
Blow it
could
away.
be-
Disk part clean.
Yeah,
Boom.
re-image.
There you go.
that
That'll
doesn't work,
solve all your
replace power
problems. You lose
supply.
all your
Exactly.
data, but that
Yeah.
will solve all of your problems.
You know what? I
Yeah,
tend
or
to
if
do
it doesn't,
Cypher
replace the
Morbid.
power supply. If that doesn't, then replace the RAM. If that doesn't replace the motherboard.
If
If that doesn't replace the CPU.
Yeah, replace the SSD. You know, Boot off of
Hey.
Linux. You know what I like to do when I'm detecting hardware problems? Get
Yep.
Ubuntu on like a USB drive, boot it up, run
He's
the live
right.
environment for a while. If you can use everything, you're like, my hardware is fine. Maybe it's Windows
It's
related.
not-
Maybe it's a driver.
That's not dumb. That's not dumb.
It's smart. Yeah, download more
Or
RAM.
nuke the site from orbit.
Download more
Nuke the site
RAM.
from orbit. Blow it all away.
Yep. What's happening here? I feel like I'm having a Josh Topolsky moment, only slightly less douchey.
No, but being sponsored
Well-
by ExpressVPN shows that we've really made it, by the
We
way.
have.
Just want to let you know.
We've arrived. Let's see.
Which is a good system. I've actually used it on a bunch of portable devices and helped somebody with it. It actually works.
What, the VPN?
Yes, it actually works really well.
Of course it works really well.
Yeah,
It's a proven system. You can
it is.
change your location. You know, I live in Michigan, but my IP address, for whatever reason, with my fiber connection, says that I'm in California. Which means
That's
if
a
I want to watch
problem.
out-of-market baseball games, like if I wanted to watch a Dodgers or an Angels game or something, I can't. I'm blacked out on MLB TV. I'd have to use ExpressVPN to say, I'm actually in Michigan.
Show me the
Who
game.
would lie about being in Michigan?
And then I would be blacked out of watching my local Tigers games, which I'm currently not blacked out watching. So it's something I should sell my internet connection to a loyal Tigers fan here so they can watch the game all year. Because otherwise, if you live in the state, you're blacked out from all Tigers games on MLB TV. Fun fact.
I just want to echo, who would fake being in Michigan? I mean, really.
Come on. I live in a
And who
beautiful
watches the
state.
Tigers?
Hey,
I don't know.
hundreds of people flock to Tigers games
There are
every
dozens of us. Dozens.
week. They nearly fill the cheapest seats on
Yeah.
game days.
Did you realize the stadium's been shut for a year? Really? I didn't notice the difference.
Hey, come on.
Oh,
Thousands of people attend each game, according to the box scores I read. I don't, but, we don't care about the Tigers here.
Exactly.
My wife's a Mets
Speaking-
fan, of all things.
speaking of Stadia being shut down. Oh, just kidding.
Oh, Stadia? Ha, 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 ha.
Yes.
See, we don't have to
Yeah.
shit on Stadia any more than we already have.
Nah, it's too easy. It's too
It
easy.
is.
It's
They're
no
a
fun.
shit
It does it to
service,
itself.
And I'm glad they're going down. How about that, Google?
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, take
We
that.
just lost our Google sponsorship, and I don't care.
You know what? And we're going to reap that $0 forever.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. We're broadcasting on Google's YouTube right now.
Yeah, I was
We
going to say
were.
we're going to our feeds are gonna
I
get chopped.
love YouTube, but I
YouTube's
don't think
fine.
Stadia is a good product. I think it's a bad
No.
product.
And it never will be a good product. Ever.
No, it'll be a dead product because they've already started.
that.
They've closed
Look,
their internal division.
This is
the woman
this is
who
a
was
Google
running it has
thing.
moved on. This is what Google
Google-
does.
Yes, exactly.
Over and over
You have
and
to be
over.
very careful about anything you adopt from Google. Just make sure that you can escape whatever it is that you've embraced with them, and don't marry it because it's going to go away.
You're going to have to
Likely.
wave goodbye.
Yeah, you needed a prenup for that relationship, and
Yes.
if you didn't get one, like if you
Yes.
bought any of the software, you're a fool.
Yeah, they just do beta. I mean, that's what they do.
We are not there yet. I have a very fast internet connection, and I feel very lucky because I have symmetrical fiber at my house. I don't even know why. I think I might be the only street that has it, and I'm on the same street as a school. So they probably were running it to the school, and they were just like, AT&T went literally door to door saying, hey, we're running fiber in your neighborhood. If you're interested, this is our introductory offer. And I had this door tag one day, yeah, $40 a month introductory fiber.
Wow, that's pretty good.
I
That's
did
not
it.
bad at all.
And it's super cheap and super fast, low latency, but I wouldn't be able to get it if I moved even to the next street. So it's very few people have fast, low latency internet, and until they do, a service like Stadia doesn't make sense for anything other than like a turn-based role-playing game. As far as I'm concerned.
And even
Terraria.
then-
Like Terraria.
no, I tried Humankind on it, and it was not good.
No,
At
man, that was a
all.
joke. The Terraria guy pulled his software
Yeah.
off.
He
of Google.
pulled
Because
his-
Google
Yes, I-
blocked his account. And he's
Yes.
Yep.
saying it was for no reason whatsoever. I have no idea. Terms and
Anyhow.
conditions. Yes. All right. Hey, our last news story: CD Projekt Red. Now they've had a great year. People,
Nope,
fans
no denying.
and critics alike can't get enough of CD Projekt Red. Cyberpunk is the most critically acclaimed game of all time. It lived up to the hype. It has been a perfect experience, a masterpiece.
Great
You know,
launch.
if Kent were on the podcast right now,
Perfect.
he would say, yes, I agree. It is
True.
a masterpiece.
Perfect
I've
execution.
put another 100 hours into it just in the last week alone.
In the last week.
Good for him. And he loves the game, and it doesn't crash for him. He's got
No, it's
that
fine.
magical combination of software versions and stuff. Anyway,
Just the right touch on the mouse.
I'm going to steal this from Graham. He's got great material in the YouTube chat this week. Cyberpunk. They got Cyberpunk. They got Cyberpwned.
Well, that was today.
We're not talking about Epic anymore, but they did get epically pwned.
They did.
They've had source code stolen, allegedly, including The Witcher 3, an alternate version of The Witcher 3, Cyberpunk 2077, and of course, far more importantly, what is the card game? Gwent,
Gwent.
Oh,
which
Gwent.
they
Yeah,
released
Gwent.
already. That source
Yeah,
code
it's
is
already
out,
been-
guys.
You know what? The first
And
thing we're gonna
nobody
release is
cares.
source code to Gwent. Yeah, you gotta-
Download it 5 times.
You know what? I have to say, I admire their response. Despite them getting super pwned on all this, they really got out in front of it and said, you know what? We're not going to take your, threat, and we're going to go, whatever. Do whatever you need to do because we're not having it, and we're not paying, and so what? We'll take the hit, and we'll get in front of it. So I
And while
admire
you're doing it, we've got a side quest for you.
yeah, that's pretty good. Hey, you know what? The only danger that I can really see, they say no personal information, was taken or anything. So, but what if there is? I mean, with the source code for Cyberpunk 2077, which I assume there's probably more than 14 people playing, more than at a local game in Michigan. There's probably more than that playing the game. What if there is a problem in the source code that illuminates a possible way to hack the game or networked versions of the game? I think that'll be interesting. I think they would be a little bit concerned about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think you'd be concerned in general if your internal servers were hacked and all of your source code from your
No,
two
man,
biggest
they
games.
got
stolen.
over that. They got over that. They said,
They're like, you
don't
can have it. We couldn't figure out the source code ourselves. Maybe this community can create a better version of the game.
well, the hackers did say, we're going to show everybody what kind of crap you guys made. I can't
Right.
think that was their play. And they're like, yeah, go ahead and do it.
We're going to
Whatever.
show you that Cyberpunk is just a skin on Witcher 3. Anyway, I don't know.
Anyway,
I don't
so
know
it's an
Witcher 3
unreleased
ran better.
version of Witcher 3. So
Witcher
you know,
Punk.
whatever they can do with that.
Yeah, it was Witcher 2077.
Witcher New Vegas.
Hey,
Swiftly
that
moving
is-
along.
That's a nice photograph.
Thank you.
How
It's
did you
it's
do that?
abstract. I just kind of set the camera on a tripod and hit continuous shot until I got the one I wanted.
Nice.
Pro tip, if you're ever photographing RGB stuff, put your camera on burst mode. That way, when you actually go into Lightroom and look at the pictures, you're like, that one's kind of purple. I don't like that. I like red. Oh, yeah. Because I have like these lights back here just on a permanent cycle. So I get to pick what background color is in the finished photos because I'm too lazy to set up a mini PC running iQOO to control the lighting myself.
So how many 1,500 pictures did you actually take?
Oh, only like 20 per shot. And you kind of look at them in Lightroom like, oh, that one has kind of a purple background. That one's got a green background. I'll use that one. So for instance, this photo has kind of a reddish purple background going on.
Oh,
Plus
yes.
the mic itself is on like a color cycle unless you're running Ingenuity software. We're talking about the HyperX Quadcast S USB gaming microphone. Now this differentiates itself from the standard Quadcast, which Brett is currently using. I'll switch over to camera 2 here. You can see that red one. Now the red one and this one, they're the same internally. It's the same mic elements.
It
That
is.
one just has a red light when you're on air, which makes sense, like in a studio. And this one has customizable RGB multi-zone lighting. So obviously that's a lot fancier. And otherwise,
I was going to
it's the
say
same.
that.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's
It
pretty much
just
the
looks
same.
more upscale.
It's nicer looking. I mean, and the only thing that's different is the lighting. It's the same frames, the same shock mounts, the same stand adapter, which is great. They did change one other thing though. There is a
Wait, the shock mounts are-
USB-C cord.
Oh. Are the shot
Are
Are the shock mounts black or gray in that picture?
They're gray, so they're no longer red. So it's a neutral gray. It's a blank canvas for your RGB lighting personalization needs.
If
whatever.
this was an Apple product, how would it be described?
something chamfered edges, user. I don't know. We don't have to make everything about Apple.
I think you were onto something.
And look at this picture here. As you can see, it still has that great tap to mute feature, which is also the lighting on off. Like literally when you tap it and you're muted, the light goes out. And if you see that the light's on, crap, I'm on the air. They heard what I just said. So that's all you need to know. And then use Ingenuity software to have better control over everything. As you can see here, polar pattern, it shows you which polar pattern you're in. It also lets you adjust mic volume, mic monitoring, which you cannot do without the software, and headphone volume. And I've always thought the HyperX, the Quadcast, had kind of quiet monitoring. The live monitoring is very low. I like to hear it at pretty much full volume so I know if there's something in the background that other people can hear. But that's adjustable. It defaults to 70%. I could have been turning it up all this time, but I wasn't running Ingenuity software. And of course, you can adjust all the lighting. But here's the thing. Ingenuity software, you have to get it from the Microsoft Store.
No.
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 And it's the only place it's available. The old versions of it that I found, they do not work with the newer hardware.
1.75 stars. That
people are salty. High. They don't like to be forced to use the Windows Store, and I don't either. And that's why I've never used the Ingenuity software for this microphone until I had to do this review. I'm like, well, I have to use the software. I have to adjust stuff. And honestly...
And you're using the mic now, right? That's the one you're on right now.
the microphone that you're hearing. So this is the real review. Don't look at my horribly messy hair that I didn't wash today. Look at the microphone itself. And hear the microphone. You can hear the microphone. Of course, by the time you hear this in the finished version of the video, I will have applied compression, and live viewers heard it without any compression. But, I mean, we've been using these mics. I've been using a Quadcast mic for 2 years. Brett's been using one for the last, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months on the podcast. So
at least.
At least. Maybe even 11
so,
months.
I think so. So the live version is the only place that you will hear it get really breathy. That's the only place. Otherwise, it's just going to be just EQ'd right out.
I'll leave you with the full uncropped version of that lead photo. The HyperX Quadcast S in action, says the photo here. Caption.
Your caption really has a sense of movement to it.
It does. I mean, I try to evoke a sense of
Look at that
excitement.
negative space.
Yeah.
I know.
True.
Its composition is almost surreal.
Quite simply, the Quadcast S is a very high-quality USB mic that is equally suited for gaming, streaming, podcasting, and work-from-home use. If you don't fancy the RGB effects, you can get the same sound from the non-S model, but you can't go wrong with either one, says Sebastian Peak in this glowing review. But you know what? I did not give it a rating because I couldn't find the rating in our back end, which is an unrelated issue that I will talk to Brett about off the air.
Oh. They're actually they're in a convenient way to access them, but
is there? Well, convenient for you. Not convenient for me. I'm like, where's the rating? I can't find the rating.
I probably sent a note.
I don't pay attention to your memos.
I know.
All right,
it's just it's just like the real Office.
Yeah.
What memo?
Did you get that TPS report I sent? No.
You know what? I'm gonna have to. We have a new cover sheet for your weekly activity reports. I'm gonna have you redo the last month's worth of activity reports with our new cover sheet.
I'm gonna go ahead and have you redo that for me. I need you to work on Saturday this week.
Yeah, if you could just come in this weekend. That'd be
Josh, we're gonna move on to picks of the week, and you have one here. Is it the Newegg Shuffle?
Did I already do that?
You did it last week, but hey, it's a good thing to remind people.
You got to remind people of it because they're not tweeting it out, but it was active for most of this, I think, Monday, Tuesday, and today. And it had pretty good stuff on there. I mean, AMD processors are now getting more solid availability. GPUs are still kind of rough. 3070s are now, up there in price, 669 at the lowest. but they had individual 3070s, and of course they had the 6800s going for like $1,100 a piece. I don't know why AMD GPUs are so expensive. I mean, are they better at hashing out coins or
AMD
just their
CPUs or GPUs?
no.
GPUs?
No, actually.
No.
That's so
No,
strange.
the smart
that they're
access memory
so
helps.
expensive. I don't know. I no.
Josh, actually, that was the thing I was going to ask. What's the mega hash rate on that 3070? I just want to check on that.
I
Just
have no
personal
idea.
note.
What's the
don't-
giga?
I
What's the
have
giga
not.
hash rating of that
Hmm.
5600X?
I have no idea.
Or is it in? Is
Why
it
do you
in
ask me these things? Like,
kilahashes?
have I ever
What's the hash
talked
rate?
about
Look, Josh, you're always talking like hash rate this and hash rate that.
hash?
He is.
Yeah,
I know.
Those were
Doge.
hash
Yeah,
browns.
Doge.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, it was breakfast. That was it.
But yeah, they've had these every day so far this week, and good products. And I've known some people who have contacted me. Are like, hey, I won, and I got the chance to buy whatever. And so yeah, that's going to be your best chance of. I mean, if you really want one of these things, get in the lottery. I don't know what the chances are. I don't know how much product they're shipping, but they're giving regular people, gamers, a chance to actually get this stuff. So if you want to do it that way, then give it a go.
Or just
Yeah, and then
become,
the one thing, AMD CPUs are MSRP on Shuffle.
yeah. See, you're not
Eric
overpaying. You're
on,
paying. You are paying for shipping though.
Yeah, but
And
who
tax.
cares? It's MSRP.
Well,
You're not getting a discount, but you're certainly not getting inflated.
I feel like if I'm winning something, I want to win something. I got the email. I won a 5600X. Yeah, as in I won the right to buy one at full price plus
Yeah.
shipping and sales tax. I don't
Yes.
feel like a winner anymore.
Hey, you know what? It's
But-
better than going on there at 6 o'clock in the morning and hitting F5, refresh, add to cart,
Josh,
and it
only
doesn't go.
chumps do that. You just need to join media and then contact AMD and have them send you stuff.
Yeah.
Whoa, they're sending us
That's
stuff
what I
again?
need to do.
Yeah, we got a 5800 and 5900X this week.
Woohoo.
Oh, did you get it in?
Wow.
Yeah,
Did you actually get them?
Yeah,
Nice.
Nice.
brand new shiny sealed boxes. Just
That's
waiting for our
interesting.
review needs.
Put it in
Yeah,
that godlike.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
really.
No, thank you. Had so many freaking issues with that thing.
Hmm.
Tried to update the BIOS again using the USB stick, and I got the famous BIOS error, which I don't know. It was an AMD specific version of the board before the retail boards came out. And I've
I
had
thought
two
you.
of these
I thought you
things
got
now.
that sent.
No,
yeah, I
no,
thought
no.
you got that
They
replaced.
never asked me to send it back. They just sent me another one, so I've got two.
Oh.
And it was working. Maybe I found the wrong one. I need to make sure I have them both side by side and say, wait
Put
a
a
minute.
big mark on it.
Yeah, I need to put
No.
void on the first one with white out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
where are we? Okay. Check out the Newegg Shuffle. You can win the right to buy things that otherwise you would not be able to buy. Jeremy,
It's the new American way.
the New American Way. Jeremy, please, your
But,
pick.
so someone asked, what if Skyrim, but 1406 Bohemia? And I stumbled upon it because Good Old Games sent out an email saying Kingdom Come Deliverance is 70% off right now, as is all of its DLCs. So altogether, for about $15, you pick it up. It's surprisingly enjoyable for, being a poor peasant that doesn't know what the hell to do and is being chased by an army that's ransacking his entire country, but starts out by burning his village down. But you can turn everything up to Ultra, where it literally orange, and this game came out about 2 years ago. And it's on CryEngine to just give you an idea what they can do with it if you're not watching the trailer right now. So you can crank this up to the Ultra settings, and it pops up saying, warning, this is for future hardware only. So I did this, and my 6800 XT is barely managing 70 frames a second in most times. If you're inside of a village where it has to deal with a lot of the characters moving around and the AI and the faces on it, are impressive. Like, not as impressive as what we saw released today with those two images of faces from which company was that? Was it CryEngine as well? The real life faces. Yeah, give me a second and I'll look it up. But no, I was pleasantly surprised by just how gorgeous it is and how interesting it is, and the combat system is significantly more complex than Skyrim, but you're still, able to use swords, bows, crossbows. You might be able to attack from the back of a horse, but let's just say this peasant ain't too familiar with riding horses at this point. He's barely learned which end of the sword you're holding.
These
it's quite fun.
Specs don't look that challenging, but like you said, it's the ultra high setting, right?
And see the HD texture pack? That also seems to have a significant effect.
Okay.
And you crank the draw distance up to obscene. And no, it is certainly doing a number on the system, and looks like it does too. It is quite pretty. No magic. You're literally 1406, and the king had just died and left his wastrel son. It's a common story back in the Middle Ages. And so his brother over in Hungary decided, this would be a damn good time to just invade and take everything over. So yeah, if you got 15
I've got
bucks,
that in my Epic. I
more than
think
worth.
I got it for free somewhere, but I still haven't
It's
downloaded
worth a
and
poke.
played it. Yeah, I've heard good things.
I'd heard almost nothing until I saw it, and now I'm like, yeah, I should tell people this.
Hey, speaking of hearing good things, Brett's pick is audio related, right, Brett?
It is audio related, and you know what? Who doesn't like big sound in a compact space? I know I do. So my pick was this Yamaha soundbar at a very reasonable price, I might add. It looks to be about 20% off the regular price, and it's got a lot of features. Bluetooth, a subwoofer, as it were. It's got audio return channel on an HDMI connection. It comes with a remote. It's got capabilities of being wall mounted. It's perfect for desktop. It's perfect for wireless use underneath your television. And it's only $149. Plus, and an optical digital delivery system. And like I said, audio return channel, in case you guys don't know what that means you can connect it to your TV and control the volume independently. You don't have to search for the soundbar remote. You could potentially use the remote for your television.
This is a super
Which is
distorted
a nice
picture
idea.
here. That does not even look like an HDMI port, but that has to be. It's
It
just
is.
all
It
squished in there.
It is. It's freaking totally squished. I don't know what the problem is with that
This
particular
distorted
picture.
photo, but hey, as
Yeah.
somebody who's owned a Yamaha soundbar and thinks that they sound very, very good for their size,
It is.
I'm interested.
Yes.
$149 and free
95.
shipping on all offers $49 and up. Does this qualify?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes, it
and,
does.
And stuff from OWC ships fast. I mean, I know I'm in Michigan and they're in Chicago area somewhere.
In fact,
I get the stuff
I think
the
just
next
because
day.
you've talked about it, maybe wanting one, I think it's on the way to your place maybe already.
Oh, you shouldn't have. Thank you. A late birthday present.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Compact design,
welcome.
big sound. ARC is nice because the one I have is just optical in and RCA's. It's older. This would let you have
So as
that
you could see-
return channel from the TV.
Optical in, which is full digital. Obviously, there are external
Really?
backs.
Is optical digital a digital format, Brett?
It is. It is. Just pointing that out. Optical digital is a digital format.
But it's
But it
limited.
also has-
But in multi-channel, it's limited to like 192 kilohertz, and
It's true.
192 kilobit, right, for a 5.1. I don't remember the actual limitation. You can't do full uncompressed beyond 2 channels, so you have to have the HDMI for that.
Simulated surround. So even though it's a sound bar, it does a simulated surround sound. It does have a standard, mini like headphone style connection for speaker input if you really wanted to drive it that way, and Bluetooth. So it's pretty convertible.
I like how someone in the chat's like, "Who are soundbars for?" It's Dave.
Certain people.
Let's see. How about
Lots of
99% of everybody in
Yeah.
the U.S. in the world? There
Nah.
are people like me who have big speakers in my living room and a separate dedicated amplifier. But for
Yes.
most people, they just want a soundbar because it's a little bit better than their TV speakers.
Well, it's
Yeah, I
also good for a
guess.
computer system. It's if just put it underneath your monitors as well. You don't think so?
Oh, wait. By monitor, do you mean iMac, Brett?
No, I don't.
They really make a fashion statement and provide modestly better sound than the tinny crap that came in my Apple device.
That is totally true, but I can't hear you over the sounds of chamfered corners.
It's true.
Yeah.
Edges.
Well, what the hell are you doing to them?
Chamfering them.
And here's another
Chamfering
reason-
the F out of them.
Yeah. Here's another reason why I bloody hate 1,000,001 freaking game vendors. As people in the chat had pointed out, check your Epic Game Library. You already had it. Yep. I didn't
So, what?
check
What?
every single game platform I had, and I already actually owned sort of
Well,
the
it's
same thing.
$15 well spent. Yeah.
Well, I got all the extras. The,
Yeah.
the Epic gave away the base game. I've got it like a dozen add-ins. Isn't it wonderful not knowing if you own something or not? It's here somewhere, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah.
And with that, we've reached the end of another exciting edition of the PC Perspective podcast. Tune in again next week as we will, in all likelihood, return for another one of these things that you've just listened to or watched, or both. Maybe you watched and listened to it at the same time using the power of YouTube.com or the YouTube app. Another fine Google product, and we love Google. We just want them to know that.
Yeah. And not cut us off.
That's right.
Hey, there are certain people that I've discovered that actually watch this multiple times.
That's
The-
it's disturbing in
disturbing.
many ways,
We don't judge here
but we also don't recommend
on
it.
live.
No, I mean just watch it once,
Watch at your
And just-
own peril.
and it take it under advisement, at your own risk, at your doctor's, under their discretion.
Wait.
Don't overdose on us.
Yeah.
No,
All right. Well, if we haven't already signed off, we are right now. Only we're still streaming. Whatever.
which is
At some point, I'll just
something we
add the
do.
music, and the show will be over.
that'll be it.
I see that my sister or somebody purporting to be her is in our YouTube live chat saying that she is heckling me, apparently.
Oh, good.
Who is? What's her handle?
Molly. That would
Molly.
be- she's
I
so
see the
clever that
name.
she's using her real legal name. And now people are
Yeah.
going to track
You might-
you down.
You might want to advise her against that.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. I also don't recommend your ridiculous and a completely illogical
she- is
stance
she-
on
is
jalapeno
she-
kettle chips.
Is she peak Molly? Get it?
I get it.
I don't get it.
Yeah. I don't know that
anyway.
Sebastian will.
I don't get it. Yeah, hairstyling tips for Josh.
Josh does his own hair, by the way. We checked that before the podcast. We were talking about dues, and this is discount Linus.
Yep. Only I think Linus probably does like the intentional like little bit of tufts of hair in the front,
I think, yeah.
trying to look cute.
I don't know. Is it cute? I'm not sure what it is.
I said he's
No,
trying.
it's
trying.
the opposite.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's weird. I'd say something really inappropriate now, but
No, it's okay. You can.
I don't want
you
to
can
get
probably do
canceled.
it.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
There's
easy to
always
get
a
canceled
danger.
these days. Cancel culture.
Sometimes you just got to stand
It's
there.
topical. Super Bowl thoughts? Anybody? That's the big event that
Could've been
happened
a
since
better
last
game.
year. It was a pretty. It was not a dramatic game at all.
I think Tom Brady drunk today was the better thing.
Yeah,
That's
heard about
what I
them
was
somewhere.
gonna say.
Stumbling
drunk-
off his boats. It was great.
Drunk
Good on
Brady.
him.
Are there memes? Are there memes yet?
Probably.
Oh, probably.
There must be.
I mean, there were
Yeah.
the weekend memes like hours after, minutes after the Super Bowl was over.
I'm looking for specific drunk Brady memes right now.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah. Josh sounds like he wants to go home and go to bed.
I'm so tired. It's just been like nonstop, not sleeping.
Well,
Work
hanging
is
out
do that.
tonight.
extremely
Fun.
busy.
Listen to an audio book. It'll put you right out. I recommend Dealers of Lightning on Audible. I love the book, but something about the narrator and the fact that it's very familiar territory puts me right out.
Wow.
Dealers of Lightning. It's the story of Xerox PARC in the 1960s and 70s.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's on Audible.
Audible. Okay.
Josh, there's a question. There's a question here that's probably aimed at you. Hey, do you guys know
Okay.
where to get a replacement fan for a Diamond Viper 770 AGP GPU? You've probably got one.
Oh my
there,
gosh.
probably.
That's a while back. I used to have one. I gave that away many years ago. And yeah, no, I don't know where you'd find a replacement for that.
I wonder if the fan from that Western Digital Black would fit. Just go buy
Usually
it
these
and
fans,
see if the fan-
they looked like they were cupped inside of a
Yeah.
yeah, and they were spun around in the middle of an aluminum heatsink. So they're kind of weird.
Speaking of little fans, there's a X399 board I think here. It was a pre-production or some early Asus board that I got from the old office. I remember like every time I see this box, like, oh yeah, this Threadripper board, I should put it with the other X399 stuff. And then there is a little metal bracket screwed into the top of it over the VRMs, and then a what appears to be 30mm fan bolted to that, and it's over the top of the VRMs, and it's not actually part of the VRM cooling solution. I'm like, I just look at this in the box, like, what? I just close the lid, put it away again. Like, I'll just remember this another year. What the hell is this? I think Ken had some kind of explanation.
Jeremy's
for
pulling out some old hardware.
That might work.
Yeah, that. Yeah, that.
That
That's
might
it
work.
right there.
That's
Yeah, that's
that's
it.
bigger than 30mm. That's like 50mm, right?
Oh God, no.
That's not a 50mm fan.
No.
Maybe
40?
a 40.
It might be a 40.
40.
Maybe a 35.
Oh, let's get loud.
Not in those cards. They were relatively quiet. I never
What
heard.
card is that?
Well, I mean, they didn't get
an
that
AG
hot.
Yeah,
It's an
they're
AGP
less than
card, isn't it?
25 watts.
All right, but what GPU?
Yeah.
It's a Radeon. Is it a 9000 series?
Yeah, 9600 XT.
Oh, nice.
Huh.
Sapphire.
Ooh. Careful. Someone might want
Eh.
that back.
You didn't return yours?
Oh my gosh! They're still after that.
Hey, I have Sapphire cards here, but I bought them. I have some old Sapphire cards, but any other?
You should
YouTube
do
fan?
a 590 Resurgence or a 580 Resurgence. Is like this is the CPU to buy nowadays if you can get it. It's a RX 580. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but
You mean
yeah,
RX
this is the one.
5800? RX 580 is
No.
a popular GPU if you can find one.
That's what I mean. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
right. You can't buy them.
No, so
You can't
I don't want to really do any GPU coverage right now because it's all
I
mine.
know.
It's all mine.
It's just stupid. You know what you should do then? Maybe you should do like a 1050 Ti. What's it? What can you play with it?
All right, because reportedly, we should have had this in the
It's-
news
yeah.
rundown. NVIDIA is
should.
supplying AIBs with 1050 Ti chips again.
Yeah, because you can get those.
Because, what
So,
else
yeah.
is Dell going to put in their gaming PC?
Yeah.
1650? 1050 Ti.
1660, 1660 Ti.
I don't know. The 1660 Ti's? No. Hash rate's too high. 1050 Ti. Passively cooled 1050 Ti's. Try to mine on that, miners.
Take that. So yeah, maybe a quick article on, and here's what you can play on a 1050 Ti. Got reasonable frame
Everything
rates.
at the lowest possible settings at 1080p.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, all
Yeah.
right.
1080 low.
Is that true?
It's the card for you.
1080
1080 Ti, it's a little bit slower
Or
than a
1050 Ti. You said
Oh, sorry.
You said 1080.
1050 Ti. 1050 Ti is just about the same speed as its 1650, maybe a little bit slower than 1650. They're within about 5% of each other. And the 1650 is not fast. 1650 Super is better, but it's not great.
Yeah.
It's better than integrated, but that's about it.
barely better. In some
There's no
cases.
RTX. There's no DLSS.
So did we actually sign off and run the after show? Or
Yeah, we're in the
we
after
just...
show. No, we're in the after show.
Yeah, man.
Oh.
Yeah, you
I'm
gotta
gonna find.
you gotta
I'm
run.
gonna find a sentence and just cut myself off and start that outro music. That was like 8 minutes ago.
Wow.
We're done. I'm gonna stop recording. Oh shoot!
No,
You
you're gonna
do
start
look like
recording.
you do look like a lesbian from Seattle that I know.
You didn't. You
Hey,
didn't.
Sebastian.
Did you record this?
I did not.
Did you record
hey,
this at all?
by the way, this week's podcast will feature the beautiful recompression of having to reuse the YouTube recording when I re-upload. That's great.
So yeah, everybody get prepared for that.
I have
There's a moment of shame.
I have never failed to record the show since I started hosting.
There's a
it
moment
here.
of shame coming on.
Good Lord. Hey, audio listeners won't notice much of a difference. What is happening here? Okay, it is time to go home and get offline.
Because
here.
we went large.
Hey, at least I know the stream worked and I can download the YouTube file, so it's not all is not lost.
Yeah.
At least we
Not
stream
lost.
at fairly high quality. Dang it. What a pain.
Hey, I got these two to take a look at. I just got some stuff from Thermaltake. So this
Oh,
is
nice.
these are discount Noctua.
Tough.
Well, if you look at it real close, you can sort of see. I'll take them out of the box. I could do them unboxing right now. I haven't even taken them
Please
out.
don't, but please don't, though.
I won't. So as you can see from the picture, this is sort of like the original Noctua look. And my understanding is that if Thermaltake sees something that's like, that's a good idea, maybe we should make that. Sometimes they do.
That's a very
That's kinda what this is. Diplomatic.
That's the word I'm thinking of. Diplomatic way of saying that. I'm sure
Hey,
Case
that's
Labs.
a good idea.
I'm sure Case Labs would feel the same way if they were still around.
Yes.
They're like, you know what? That Noctua fan, those are pretty sweet, but you know what? That color sucks.
But Noctua has the black fans now. So
Yep.
But this is like gray and black.
that looks like a
and it kinda
side fan. We
matches-
talked about this before. They have the whole side thing.
No, I don't. Maybe we did. I don't know.
Yeah, we
I
did.
forget a
We
lot of
did.
things you
I
say.
have a much better
I don't
memory
listen to
than
you anyway.
I know.
I'm not listening anyway.
You're not the boss.
So, anyway, those are going to be great. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some experimentation with them, swap those for fans that maybe came with traditional AIO, and see if it's a noise normalized test indicate
Oh,
that
brother.
those
Who
fans
you,
are better.
Steve Burke?
It's-
Noise
don't do
normalized.
that. Let's don't do that. Don't do that. And other people can do that too. He doesn't have a corner
He
on that
patented it. It has a little
did not.
TM next to it on the reviews.
market. You're probably right. Shit.
all right, I'm gonna get out of here. My eyes are killing me.
Yeah.
Killing.
Okay.
See ya.
Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Yep.
Night.
Well, I'm gonna have to download this as soon as we stop streaming, so I can edit
Yep.
the download.
That's what I hear.
You know what? This will be the 720p version of the podcast because if I down res it to 720, it'll look better than if I recompress it 1080.
Yeah.
People won't
You do what
care.
you got to do, man.
People won't
Yeah,
care.
have fun with that.
It's like everybody looks a little bit blurry this week. We look younger. We'll look younger. I'll put a filter on it. I'll make it black and white and put like an old film grain effect on it.
I could
Perfect.
use 10. I could use 10 years, 8 anyway. So yeah, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, the bags are real. Not
That's
getting enough
just-
sleep.
That's just your young child in your house making you never sleep.
Yeah, that's true. He still wakes up almost every night, screaming in the middle of the night.
Hooray.
And you're up with
And
them.
that's just you.
You're up with them all day, every day, man.
It's easy to get him back down now. Like he screams and he's like has night terrors and stuff. So then it's just like, all right, grab him, put him in bed, and go back to sleep. And sometimes I
And
don't
for
go back
anybody
to sleep.
wondering how Sebastian's hair got like that, well, now you know.
Well, I was gonna wear a hat the whole show, and then I decided not to wear a hat. But if you have long, unkempt hair, and you wear a hat for any length of time, and then take it off, you get hat hair.
I've never heard of that before.
I know it's a
Hat
new
hair?
phenomenon. Hat hair.
Yeah.
Hat hair? Really? Canadians don't talk about hat hair? I mean,
He's
it's
being
June.
sarcastic.
You guys,
He's being sarcastic.
you guys are wearing hats outside.
Well,
I mean,
Jeremy
6 months
has
of the year you're wearing a toque, so you just don't notice.
hat hair proof hair. If you have long hair,
Oh,
it doesn't really affect anything.
Lies.
If I go out shoveling snow and come back in 20 minutes later, take off my hat, I'm like, whoa, okay, put the hat back on. It's horrifying. Anyway,
And just to reiterate, Josh is his own stylist. Just want to
Yeah,
mention that from the top of the.
he has been doing his own. He's like George Clooney. He's been cutting his own hair with a Flowbee for years. He talked about it on our show. In fact, there's an episode of
He
the
did.
podcast. Look through the thumbnails. You'll see one with the Flowbee next to Josh.
It's true. It's
He
true.
talked about it. He made it his pick of the week, probably. All right.
I think there's people still watching this. if you can believe
I'm
it.
confused
Yeah.
about that. Where is our
Well-
where are our stats here?
They can, but I think I'm going to run away.
Okay.
Hey, you guys, have an evening. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Talk to
Thank
you
you.
next week. Good night, all.
Bye.